There has been a lot of deaths of married women in recent times. And in today's video today, I want to ask all the women out there, is marriage really by force for women? What happens if a woman doesn't get married? And is it that difficult as a woman to live without a man? Welcome to Glodikany TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Now, ladies, let's have a heart-to-heart talk here. Let's discuss, okay? But before we dive into the main discussion, I want to give a brief recap of some of the shocking deaths that most married women has faced in recent times. On January 22nd, this particular year, a woman was killed by her husband who poured fuel on her and set her ablaze. This particular incident happened in Anambra State, and this woman who was set ablaze had kids. She gave birth to kids for this same man. Somebody posted this thing on Instagram, and that person said something. He said, "I have always advised ladies, if the marriage is not working, it is not working. File for a divorce. It is better you live alive or you live in death. Don't stay in an abusive marriage, no matter the kind of money your husband." In June 2024, another woman was disfigured with acid. This incident happened in the area of Warri, Delta State, southern Nigeria. This particular lady said something. She said, "My love, father of my children, poured me acid." That statement alone showed how bitter she was, because she never expected her own husband, whom she had given birth for, have kids for, to pour acid on her. Another death occurred on February 18th, this particular year, 2025. A policeman and his wife butchered themselves to death. This particular incident happened in Ado Ekiti. The scene of this incident was so gruesome. If you watch it, to be shocked. The woman cut off her husband's manhood, and the man bashed her head inside. Blood was flowing everywhere. It was terrible. On the Facebook page where this incident was, broadcasted briefly, someone, a particular necker, said something. She wrote, "Many people will still be alive if they have remained single instead of getting married." Osinachi, the popular musician who we know very well, was under domestic violence. In fact, the man kept beating her. According to the reports, the man was accused of both verbal abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and culpable homicide. Many popular artists confirmed the kind of torture Osinachi was under before her death. Some of her friends confirmed that what eventually led to her death was a kick on her chest by her husband, Peter Machuchu. Maybe you didn't hear about another lady, Success Ezekiel, who was killed just 8 months after her wedding by her own husband too. According to reports, the lady's sister was asked if there were kind of issues in the relationship, and she said something. "Kevin always beats my sister. Sometimes my sister will come to my house to save herself from further beating by Kevin. But Kevin and his mom will usually come and plead with my sister, and she will go back." In fact, according to the lady's sister, the Kevin mother will always tell her, "If your husband doesn't see you, he will die. He loves you so much." That was how they kept on going back and forth until Kevin finally killed this lady, Success. In a Guardian report, an onlooker who saw what was happening that fateful day made some comments. She said "I can't believe what I saw. Imagine being killed by your own husband. They were newlyweds, and nobody expected such a thing to happen." Of course, Success is gone. Nobody will expect such a thing from a man who just married his wife 8 months, back. In 2023, there's another death that many people didn't really hear about. In 2023, a particular lady, Adeze Olabode, was killed with her 8 months pregnancy. Why did the husband kill her? She was complaining about the man, about how the man was spending money. That was all. She was heavily pregnant, 8 months, and the man killed her in a domestic violent act. There's another lady. She didn't die, but her husband blinded her because he was attempting to use her for money ritual. This particular incident was shared by Tunde Ednot, and I will quote what the sharer said on that platform, which really caught my attention. The comment read thus: I still stand on my ground that marriage is not by force. Madam Oga, before you buy or lose an important body part, please leave the marriage. Don't stay in a toxic relationship because you think you are in love. There was another lady as far back as 2011 who lost her left eye permanently because of her husband's brutality. It was not for ritual, it was not attempt to kill her, but the man was exerting, his strength, physical strength on the woman, beat her, and then she lost her left eye permanently to this. I'm not going to conclude this once without mentioning someone I know personally in Abia State. She died. In fact, her death, the circumstances surrounding her death was so mysterious that even the parents till death are so confused. Like, she used to come home complaining that her husband was maltreating her, beating her up, in fact, carrying several women even into their matrimonial home. And when she comes back with her kids, the parents will allow her to stay for some weeks, maybe, and then they will tell her to go back because in her case, her mom was a deaconess in the church. So she didn't want to be criticized. She was still after what people would say maybe she wasn't a good mother, or her own daughter came back for marriage and everything. So she kept telling this girl to go back, telling her to go back. And on that fateful day, she didn't come back again. But what they heard was, please, your daughter is dead. Come and see her in the mortuary. Now, in the case of this lady, this particular lady, she used to come back. She used to come back crying, complaining to her parents and say, yes, she had kids. I can understand. Maybe they'll be like, if she comes back, how is she going to train her kids and everything? But she used to come back, and then the parents would now send her back. And on that fateful particular incident, she didn't come back. She didn't call. And the next thing was, she was now in the mortuary, and the parents were asked to come and see her there. So you see, sometimes I don't even know who to blame. Do I blame the woman for staying and dying there? Do I blame the parents who pushed their children back into such a marriage? Or do I even blame the society who stigmatized those women who boldly walked out of their marriage to save their lives? In fact, one day I heard an elderly woman advising a younger married lady. She said something. She said, please try to protect your marriage. Try to endure everything and keep your marriage. There are so many ladies out there who are doing everything possible to get married. Now that God has blessed you and you are inside one already, try to endure and make sure you keep your marriage going. In fact, she said, you that is inside, do everything to stay inside. And this brings me to the first question I have. Is marriage by force for women? Like, she was saying that those who are outside are doing everything, like everything, to be married, to come inside the institution. So you are inside, stay there. Like, even though you are abused, stay there. Even though you are, brutalized, stay there. So I'm asking, is marriage by force for women? Personally, my answer to this question is marriage is not by force for women. Because the worst thing that can happen to you as a woman is to get married to a beast. Yes, everybody has a kind of little madness in them. But some people are beasts. Remember, men and women are not, at the same level when it comes to physical strength. So if you're a lady and you end up in the hands of a beast, let's say beast of a man, that's the wrong, in fact, that's the worst thing that can happen to you. Now, let me ask you, is it better to marry a beast on one hand, or is it better for you to remain a single as a lady? That's my question. And you see, the problem with entering into a marriage with a beast is once you are inside, it becomes so difficult to come out. Let me tell you something. It is not easy to walk away from a marriage, especially when you have kids. Unless you're so bold and so courageous that you are ready to shun everything that is going to be said about you as a woman. Like, it's even easier for a man to dump a woman than a woman to say, I am done. I can't continue in this marriage. I will die. Everybody will think you are exaggerating. So even though I advocate, in fact, I am an advocate of marriage. I love marriage. I love love. I love romance. So I'm not going to discourage any woman, from feeling it. So even though marriage to a very good man is something you don't want to miss, but it is even better you remain single than you get married to the wrong person. It is not by force. The second question I have today is, what happens? Like, what will happen if you now as a lady didn't get married, or if you remain single? What will happen to you? But before I go ahead to answer that, I really want to tell you why it's as if everybody's trying to get married. I mean, the particular good reason why it's as if we advocate settling down with someone, the right person. Okay, let's check our Bible in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. The Bible said something very interesting. It said, two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls down and has no one to help them. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of three strands is not quickly broken. So from this scripture, it's so obvious that the main reason anyone should even get married is to get a life partner, because two are better than one. Of course, in everything, two are better than one. You will cure your loneliness. When you are weak, the other person is strong to support you. When you are cold, the other person is there to warm you up. That's companionship. That's the core reason anyone should even think about getting married. Now, for the women, they also get someone to protect them. Remember, I'm always saying men are stronger than women physically. It's not mentally or emotionally. I didn't say that. I'm saying physically, a man is stronger than a woman. So if you have a man by your side, not a whip, but a man, a real man by your side, who is ready to defend you. You can even go and look for trouble sometimes, and he is there to defend you because he is physically strong. So that's another reason for you to even look for a man to spend the rest of your life with. Then life is also filled with ups and downs. There are times when things will go smoothly, and there are times when things will not go smoothly. Especially for women too, there are times when you will need a man to hold you close, to encourage you, to cuddle you when you are sick. He's there taking care of you. Of course, you will feel so loved. All those things are very necessary, and there are good reasons to get married. So if you as a woman doesn't get married eventually and you remain single, you might miss out on this joy of having a companion. But let me also say this. You can only enjoy companionship and all these beautiful things I've described with the right partner, with a man who truly loves you. Let me use that word, a man who truly loves you, because if a man truly loves you, he cannot hurt you. Not to talk of emotionally, mentally, or physically. How can a man who loves you even have the mind to beat you? So even though I've described this beautiful scenario here, if you don't end up with the right partner, you are not going to enjoy anything. Now, let me address the third question I asked. Is life really that terrible without a man? The answer to that is no. Life is not terrible for any woman without a man, unless you become useless to yourself. Remember, men are stronger than women physically, but some women are mentally and emotionally so strong. In fact, some women's IQ, it's like over the roof. So there are some God-given gifts, talents, and ideas, in fact, intelligence that God has endowed you with. And if you now decide not to utilize these things and become something reasonable, something useful to yourself, your family, the society, then it becomes terrible without a man in your life. In fact, it has even become so simpler for women in this generation, because now a woman can be anything she wants to be. Like, women are in politics, women are in sports, women are, in fact, in every field of life endeavor. You see women there. So, and look, they don't differentiate between single women and married women. Like, women are women. They are talking of individuals. As a woman, Who are you? What are you able to offer? That's all. Now, let me tell you a story I came across while preparing and researching for this video. Do you know that in the 18th century, is like all those 18 this, 18 that, now we are in 20 days, those 18 that, women were just allowed to be playthings for men. Those years, women were just allowed to marry, take care of their husbands, give birth, and then take care of their children for the rest of their lives. They were not allowed to pursue anything political, pursue anything career, or do anything that is outside this defined existence given to them by the society. You know, this thing went on and on for years until one day, 5 friends decided to stop it. And that gave birth to women's rights movement. This movement started on July 13, 1848. According to the Post, a sweltering summer day in upstate New York, when a young housewife and mother, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, was invited to tea with 4 women friends. And within 2 days of this their tea party, this small group has picked a date, July 19 and 20th, 1848, for their convention. They called this convention, they said, a convention to discuss the social, civil, and religious condition and the rights of women. The gathering took place at the Wesleyan Chapel in Seneca Falls. If you want to read the full gist, in fact, the story was so interesting. If you want to really read the story fully, go to the description box. The link is there. You will now read how these women reacted to, being used as playthings for men only, without making anything out for themselves. So from there, they brought out themselves to the government, and before you know it, women were now, they started being recognized and being allowed, permitted to do anything, everything, in fact, and anything they wanted, to be useful human beings in the society. So now, if you're a single woman listening to me, you are not married yet, and to you are so desperate, like, oh, if I didn't get married, to be as if my own is over. I want you to calm down, like, oh, backpedal a bit. Just take a time to think about this. Think about yourself. What are you rushing into? Why are you so desperate? You can make something out for yourself. Look at Elizabeth and her friends changed the whole narrative about how women were perceived and handled in the society. That means you can become somebody useful for yourself, your family, the society, until you land this particular man that will give you the joy that comes from companionship. Now, let me remind you of what I've said earlier. Men are physically strong, stronger than women. And this strength is an advantage in the hands of a good man, because he will use his physical strength to protect you. But you see, it's a very big disadvantage in the hands of a very toxic and abusive man, because he will use that physical strength to deal with you. Now, let me say this. In as much as we women, we always want, in fact, hunger for a man who will protect us. The strength of a man is an advantage in the hands of a good person. Like, if he's a good man, it's an advantage. But if he's a wicked man, you see, that protection you're looking for, that strength you want to harness, is going to be something that will be used against you. So if you are in a relationship right now and that man is showing signs of aggressiveness, toxicity, and narcissism, and uncontrollable anger, it's better, please, run for your life until you meet the good man. I recently shared a video on the signs of a toxic man. When I was researching, I discovered toxicity in a man means emotional abuse, and it can be very dangerous. So if you've not watched that video, make sure you go and watch it now. You are going to learn a lot. So my ladies out there, in fact, my beautiful ladies out there, please, 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 don't rush to get married. Don't pray for this, let any man come, let any man come. No, I just want to tell you some few things you will see, and then you decide to get married. The first one, if you see a man who is loving, who is kind and gentle, not just to you, but it's his, character, you can get married to him. Not the one that will hate you, despise you, they're sleeping on the same bed with you, but capable of killing you at any little provocation. Now, if you want to know more about those kind of men that will make good husbands, in fact, I know I have a video like that on this channel. And if you've not watched it, please go and watch it so that you will discover those qualities to look out for in a husband so that your life will be happy. Now, very, very importantly, no matter what you do, no matter what you want to achieve, never, never marry any man because you want to have children. Because sometimes there are women who got married and the kids did not come. Don't get married because your friends are getting married. Don't get married because you are getting older. Don't get married because your parents are pressuring you or what the society will say, or maybe your biological clock is ticking. Please don't get married for the wrong reasons, because at the end of the day, you are choosing someone to live with for the rest of your life. So, my ladies, if you don't get married at all, nobody is going to kill you. I mean, the government is not going to come to your house one day and shoot you because you didn't get married. Your family will not throw you away unless you are, from those terrible families we often hear about that will be pressuring their daughters to go and get married because maybe the children of their mates have all gotten married. Please, if you are in such a family, stay far. All I can tell you is try to be useful as a woman. If you're a very useful lady, young lady to your family, to your parents, nobody is going to push you away or say, hey, you better go and marry any man like that so that it will be as if you've married. But when you are useless, everybody is going to want to push you into the hands of any man that comes. So I want to encourage you, after you've watched this video now, you just have to decide for yourself. Is marriage something I am going to be so desperate to rush into and end up being brutalized or killed by someone that I'm sleeping with on the same bed every day? Or is this something I will calm down, focus on, making myself better, focus on creating a useful life for myself, wait patiently until that good man, that handsome man that will love you comes along and takes you, and show you all the beauties that lies in companionship. You have to decide for yourself. And as you are deciding this for yourself, I'll be seeing you in my next video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe to this video.